All right, so most of us haven't had a chance to meet Nick and JP yet. You met them at last year's annual shareholder meeting. What were your overall impressions on them, and will you be attending this year's shareholder meeting? And what are you looking to come away with this time that you didn't come away with last time?
Yeah, I've had the opportunity to meet Nick and JP a couple of times. There was a shareholders meetup. I think one of them was in New York and one was in Vegas, and then there was the actual annual shareholders meeting. And it's really difficult to fully encapsulate the amount of confidence they bestow until you meet them in person. It's very difficult to understand through just press releases, or even when you're hearing the interviews, and it sounds like they're reading from prepared statements, that you can't see the give and take. So when shareholders were asking them questions, when they were engaging with us, they always had answers. You could see the wheels turning, and you knew that every one of these things that we're discussing, and that some people so blatantly online misconstrue, is that they have been working behind the scenes for years to get all of this to come together at the same time, because like Nick said, he doesn't want to go onto the NASDAQ and be a little fish in a big pond. He wants to go into NASDAQ as a larger fish. And when you meet them in person, in addition to also getting to meet other Discord members, which was great, and I will be going to the annual shareholders meeting, all of them, for the next 25 years, that it was really, really interesting, because you get to see a different side of not just the Discord members, but also of Nick and JP, because of all the different interactions. One question sparks a thought that creates another question, and then somebody asks that. At the first annual shareholders meeting, one of the conversations that I was so enthralled with was discussing with Nick the adoption of the mist nozzle technology by insurance companies, because the majority of the damage done that they're paying for is actually done from water damage and not from the smoke and the fire. And so if something like that was to happen, then there's the sky's the limit. They would absolutely dominate that market, as nobody else has the low pressure, nozzles that can do this. And so as soon as that happened, it was just a eureka moment for me. And I went, oh my gosh, this is incredible. In addition to that, no one else does this. They did an annual shareholders meeting the first year. This is going to be the second one. That I can't think of one other OTC company that goes and meets the people or has any interest in engaging in their shareholders with their shareholders, with the exception of For Money. And so when you get to see them in their element, it was really, really fun for me. I had already talked to them. So at the annual shareholders meeting, I just kind of withdrew myself a little bit, and I let the newer investors, sit and ask questions and, interact with them. I didn't want to monopolize their time. But I still had the opportunity to have a few conversations with them, and it's always interesting. They're very articulate. The conversations are always, top notch. And it really is nice to be surrounded by everyone in the room being a like-minded individual, and the bears are too scared to speak up or talk any of their smack there. And so whenever they say anything, it becomes very obvious, especially after this meeting. It becomes very obvious where we're going, what's going on. And by the time we get there, we're going to already have the Q3 numbers, which is going to show 6 acquisitions, and it's going to show hundreds of millions of dollars in assets. And, I don't know how much we're going to be, doing in that next quarter, but, I assume at least 35 million. And it's really impressive how quickly they've grown and how they interact with people. And I cannot wait to meet Dan Peters. I love seeing Jason there. And then we had some people like Jonathan Burbank who showed up, who was called out by Nick specifically as asking some of the most relevant questions and some of the most difficult questions. And of course, they immediately had answers for those too, which just made everybody in the room think, man, I really, really am glad that I came here, because at least for myself, there was nobody there that was not ready to sell their house and car and buy more ILUS by the end of that meeting.
I guarantee you I would have been one of those people had I been there. I remember listening in. It was really informative. It was really well put together, and it's going to be even better this year. And I'm hoping to be there this year. I'm hoping my schedule works out where I'm actually able to attend the shareholder meeting in person. But yeah, so totally awesome. Thank you for answering that question. I know that you've talked about the shareholder meeting, so that's cool.
Yep, and hopefully Moon covers it again and does some more karaoke of Arlex.
Oh no, Moon. If you see this, no, don't do it. Don't do it. That was freaking funny. That was funny. That actually was pretty damn funny.
No, it was great. But I will tell you this: that there was about 100 people, give or take. You know, I think it was I think we counted 89 or to 95 people there. And everybody was pretty engaged. Everybody was talking, but with the amount of press that we've got, with the amount of people that are on board, with the amount of people that are doing it, I expect that number to at least double. So I would be shocked if there's not at least 200 people at this meeting this year.
Leave a comment below. Are you going to the annual shareholder meeting? Peace.